Hi guys, hope you had a great holiday. It's a new year, and I wish you all the best. I hope you're back in your faculties, or you've got your faculties back, uh, because we're going to talk about, last time, if you can remember, we were talking about, I was exposing famous Freemasons, okay, without actually going into exactly what Freemasonry is. We all know it's a secret society, and it is behind major events in the world, and it's been behind them for donkey's years. All right. In fact, Freemasonry itself officially started in England in the 18th century, around in the 1700s at some point. There isn't, well, there's a date for the official Lodge of England, but that's not what Freemasons themselves say, okay? Because if you read a book by Robert Lomas and Christopher Knight, Freemasons themselves, they take it all the way back to ancient Egypt, right? Because even the rituals that they do, they're about a Hiram Abif, the great stonemason, who was supposed to have built, or was supposed to have been one of the builders of the temples in Egypt or something, and the designer of the Temple of Solomon. He was killed because he wouldn't give up the secrets of the design of the Temple of Solomon. So this is all the ritual that goes into these things. But officially it started in 1700s, and these guys are really, really pervasive. And the point that I want to show you now, what I want to do now is open your eyes. Because what they do is they communicate using science, semiotics, right? Signs and symbols. And for those with eyes to see, they will see where their signs are. And they're everywhere, I can tell you that right now. Okay, if you can just think of a university, right? In university, you've got degrees. In masonry, there's degrees, right? You wear a mortar board when you graduate, right? That's a masonry implement or tool, right? A mortar board. Judges, they use a gavel, that hammer, bang, bang. That's a masonry thing. When you swear on the Bible, the oath, you put up your right hand, sorry, and you put your left hand on the Bible and you swear an oath. That is a Freemasonry symbolism and ritualism and everything. There's just a whole lot of this stuff, and it is in like almost every aspect of our society. So what I'm going to do in this video is just show you some of their signs, so that in your everyday life, as you're going around, you can see. And I promise you, if you don't already know this stuff, because I'm assuming if you already know this stuff, you wouldn't be watching this. Once you realize what these guys' signs and symbology is, well, symbology isn't really a word, but their signs and symbols are, you'll see them everywhere you go. From corporate logos to all over the place, okay? They're even in buildings. Whole cities were designed by Masons, right? I mean, that's what Freemasonry is. It's a builder's guild. That's what it was based on. But it's so much more than that, because it's pervasive in politics now, entertainment, every aspect of our lives, education, everywhere. So I'm not going to really dwell too much on what the signs actually mean, because as you know, signs can be interpreted in many different kinds of ways. But suffice to say that in ancient rituals and religion, etc., they were based mainly on astrology, astrological symbols. The sun, the astrological symbols, Libra, Virgo, Aquarius, etc., etc., and the stars, Venus, Sirius, etc., right? So these symbols are representative of that and so much more on top of that, right? And there's numbers, numerology, etc. involved therein. But I'm not going to go too much into what they mean. I just want to show you what they are, just so that you are able to see them. We might go into that a bit later on in another video. So here is the video for the semiotics of Freemasonry. Okay? And this is how we begin. That right there is the main symbol. Okay? Over here, that's a compass, right? You have a compass right there. And this is the right angle square rule, right? Symbols of masonry and building, architecture. That's their main, the basis of their whole rites and rituals, etc. The G supposed to stand for the great architect. This was introduced by American Masonry, apparently. A guy by the name of Albert Pike, who wrote a book called Morals and Dogma of the Ancient Scottish Rite of Free and Accepted Masons. You can look up that book. You can even buy it, Amazon, or I don't know, in your local bookstore or whatever, but it's available. And you can read it, by Albert Pike, Grand Master 33rd degree of the Scottish Rite. He wrote the book, okay. So the G stands for the great architect of the universe. Because in Freemasonry, in order to join them, apparently you have to believe in God, right? That's what they say. But as you know, these things are really dubious. They have multiple meanings. So you must never take their things at face value. And another thing about signs and symbols is that they're never accidental. Okay, nothing is a coincidence. Oh, it's just a coincidence that this is over there and that is over here. No, everything is put in place, as I said, for those with eyes to see. And they have secret handshakes that they use. So, everything is in secret, but it's hidden in plain sight. Because if you don't know it, you won't recognize it. Right? And you just go about your life as though nothing is going on. So look at this sign very carefully. Okay? Because if you can see it, if you draw a line there, and you draw another line there, it makes another sign. Right? And that would be this over here, the six-pointed star. Star of David. It's got nothing to do with David, that star. Okay? That is a Freemasonry symbol. But it's much more ancient than Freemasonry as such. It's been used in many religions in India. And, the Jews use it now. But it's one of the many signs and symbols of the Freemasons. So you have the six-pointed star, all right, as above, so below, right? That's what it denotes. Because if you can remember, the pyramids in Egypt, the three great pyramids, are supposed to represent the the stars in the belt of Orion, right? So as above, so below. Exactly as above, so below. So it's a astrological symbology that they're using here, right? And then you also have the five-pointed star. The five-pointed star supposedly represents the morning star, the planet Venus, right? And apparently this is the path that Venus takes. when it moves in the sky. I'm not exactly sure how. I'm not an astrologist, but this is what it's supposed to represent. That's why I don't want to go too deeply into the meanings. I'm just going into just to show you. Stars, 5-pointed star, 6-pointed star, Freemason symbols. So when you see these things, you must just know they're there. They've got something to do with it. And then we have the 7-pointed star and the 8-pointed star. 7-pointed star, if you look at the Statue of Liberty, her crown has 7 points. That's a Freemasonry symbol. The flame of liberty, that's a Freemasonry symbol as well. Okay? Don't take these things for granted. They're there, and they are representative of these guys and what they do. And if you look at a lot of police badges, they're like this, as well as this one. I know in particular South African Police Service has their badges like this, right? Freemasons all the way. And the thing about Freemasons, like I showed you, the first one was a square, right? Square and compass. Squares. Chessboard. The checkered chessboard, the black and white floor, etc. The chessboard. That is Freemasonry symbol. Black and white floor, Freemasonry symbol. Okay? Or checkerboard. If you see on the caps of police around the brim of the cap, they have that checkerboard symbolry. They have that checkerboard pattern around the cap. That's Freemason stuff. So squares are very Freemasonry. And if you look at this, there's actually 2 squares. If you draw a line over there, see that that's a square there, right? And there. And this is another square. A square on top of a square. 2 squares. Freemasonry symbols. You'll see them everywhere you go. And wherever you see them, like I told you, there's never a coincidence. There's nothing accidental about these things. They put them there on purpose for those with eyes to see, who are not blind. If you don't know these things, you wouldn't notice them, right? Because you're not a Mason. You don't know how they operate. So my job here, or what I'm trying to do here, is to show you how these things work. America is the land of the Freemasons. It was started by Freemasons. Okay? And their symbolry is everywhere in America. Washington, D.C. in particular, the capital of America. American government is, if you remember in the last video, I mentioned about 15 presidents of America, and the founding fathers were all Freemasons. Actually, most of the founding fathers, the guys who wrote the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, Declaration, etc. Most of them were all Freemasons or sympathetic to the group, right? So these are their signs. So what I want to do now is go into the dollar bill. Now the dollar bill is about as Freemasonry as you can get. Their signs are everywhere on the dollar bill. Okay, let's start breaking down the dollar bill. George Washington, Freemason, on the front of the dollar bill. Okay, you have a Freemason showing you this is our country. We run the shit. Alright, so be aware of it. And then on the back of the dollar bill, what do you find? You find a pyramid with the all-seeing eye. The eye is a symbol of the Freemasons, and the eye comes from Egypt. So does the pyramid, right? And on the other side you find the eagle, phoenix, also Freemasonry signs, where you see them. In God we trust. Okay, we don't know which God that is, but they trust in God. But if you read Morals and Dogma, Albert Pike says Lucifer, the bringer of the light, is God. He says Lucifer. Okay, he doesn't say Satan as such, so you can draw your own conclusions from that. But then next I want to go actually into these symbolry involved in this, the Great Seal of the United States of America. Okay, just to try and break that down a little bit more for you. Here we have the front and the back of the Great Seal. Okay. Now, you saw the six-pointed star that I showed you, right? You draw a line. Let's start over here with the eagle. Okay. You draw a line from the lowest arrow, the point, to the fifth leaf on this olive branch, all the way up to the top of the star in this pattern over here, down, and then you draw one from the end of the wing to the other end of the wing and right down to the tail. You have six-pointed star, 6. And then over here, these stars, there's 13 stars over here, arranged also in the six-pointed star pattern, as you can see. Okay, so that's 6, that's 6. On the other side, on the reverse, you draw across from the S to the A, down to the O, and up you have a triangle, and down from the M to the N, and over and above the I, all-seeing eye in the top triangle over there, you have another six-pointed star. So you have 6, 6, 6. Where does that come from? Anybody remind me? 666. Numbers, very important. There's 13 stars over here. Okay? There's 13 bars in there. E pluribus unum. Out of many, one. Out of many comes one. 13 letters in that E pluribus unum. 13 arrows. 13 leaves on the branch of the olive, on the olive branch. 13 berries. 13, very symbolic. You can remember Jesus and the 12 disciples, 13. The sun and the 12 stars of the constellation of the zodiac, 13. Very symbolic stuff over there. Annuit coeptis. For God has looked down favorably. Novus ordus seclorum. On our new order of the ages. God has looked down favorably on the new order of the ages. And this over here in Roman numerals is 1776. July 4th, 1776 was when America became independent after the War of Independence against Britain. Right? And these circles that I've drawn here, okay, on the M over here in the 1776, this is M-A-S-O-N, Mason. Mason, M-A-S-O-N. Can you see how these guys hide their symbols and their signs? They're everywhere. All you need to do is just open your eyes and learn how to actually decipher these things. This pyramid has 13 steps in it. 13 steps in the pyramid. There's 13 letters in Anuit Coeptus as well. 13. A number that keeps reoccurring over and over again. That is the dollar bill, the very currency, the money, the thing that everybody has to use every single day. Ritualistic stuff. This is how they conduct their rituals, and everybody is involved in the rituals, but you don't know that you're doing a ritual. Right? It's like sometimes you go to church and you do all these rituals, but you don't know what they mean exactly. What are you actually doing when you're there at church, and you know, sign of the cross, etc., etc., and the things that you actually do? You must dig deeper into these things. That's the dollar bill. Washington, D.C. This is a map of Washington, D.C. It's not too clear, but the way Washington was planned and built is such that the major buildings are put in strategic positions. Okay? This is the White House over here. And there's a road leading out of the White House. You'll see it goes all the way down there. And then it goes all the way up to here. Right? But then there isn't a road here, actually. Right? This area over here is not a road. This area over here. It's a broken pentagram. This part is not there. And I'll show you another broken pentagram as well. That's very satanic stuff. Satanists use that kind of stuff. I'm not saying Freemasons are satanic, but it's a satanic sign. So, and Albert Pike did say that Lucifer is God. He does say it in his book. Please research it if you don't believe me. Okay. And you get a road going across there and down and up back to the White House over there. You have pyramids. Over here and over here are strategic monuments. Okay? And then you have the Lincoln Memorial over here. This is the Lincoln Memorial. Draw a straight line across. You have that phallic symbol, the obelisk. It's right there. The Washington Monument, the obelisk. And the reflective pool over here. And then you continue going straight. Capitol Hill. Capitol Hill. And it's built on a site that looks like an owl. If you go to Google and Google Washington D.C. and look at Google Maps, okay, you will see these things. They're there for you to see. Okay, and then directly straight across from the Washington Monument, you have the Supreme Council of the 33rd Degree Temple of the Freemasons. That's what it looks like. You'll see the picture. You'll find it anywhere. Look it up on Google. I found this on Google Maps. Okay, I took this from Google Maps. This is their headquarters for the Scottish Rite, ancient and accepted a rite of Freemasonry. Okay, this is where it is over here. And then this forms a T. The T is, as you can see, the right angle, right? But the spirit level of old was in the shape of a T, right? And it's also got other meanings, the T. But spirit level is one of the signs of Freemasons as well, okay? So you have a Tau. It's called a Tau. Tau, as in Tau, T-A-U. Triple Tau, okay? So it forms that. And here again, there's a road going down there to the Jefferson Memorial. And then another one, this is from the White House to the Capitol, okay? That forms the compass. You remember the square and compass? And there's a road coming down here and another one going up there. There's a square and there is a compass. There is no way that this is coincidence. It was designed like that. As above, so below. Okay, we are the Freemasons. We are running this shit. The White House is directly in front. They direct what happens in the White House and in the Capitol. That's what they're trying to tell you here. Okay? These guys are everywhere. So now that we've seen Washington, D.C., and not only Washington, Philadelphia, New York City, all over America. America is awash with Freemasons in their parliament, Congress, in the Senate, everywhere you find Freemasons and Freemasonry. The country was started by them. It's a Freemasons country, America. But don't fool yourself. So finally, I want to take a look at some corporate logos with Freemason signs. Do you remember I was telling you about the broken pentagram? There we have it. Caltex. See, it's broken over there. Satanic symbolry, that. Okay. Chevron. See that chevron? Where else do you find chevrons? On army ranking, right? The army, on the shoulder, they put the chevron, and the more you've got, the higher up you go, right? And if you look at a chevron carefully, these are two boxes. It's a box on top of a box. Square on top of a square. Because if you draw a line there, like that, and another one there, can you see the box now? There's a box on top of another box. That's what a chevron is. That's what a chevron represents. Okay? And you'll see these things. These are just a few of these companies. There's a whole lot of them. CBS, the all-seeing eye. All-seeing eye on the pyramid on the dollar. There you have it. CBS Corporation. Media. Car companies. The ram. You find the ram. The ram's head on the pentagram. The satanic pentagram. Dodge. And then Chrysler. Remember I told you the guy who started Chrysler? He was a Freemason. There's a pentagram and a pentagon. The Department of Defense headquarters is called the Pentagon. Also in Washington, D.C. Strategically positioned as well. That's the logo for Chrysler. But look at these company logos. These guys are telling you something. Telling you, we're running this shit. We own it, but you don't know it. I hope you're going to know it from today onwards. So look around and open your eyes. And finally, last but not least, what do we have here? The United Nations. These segments here, there's 4, 4, 4, 4, right? Has 8, there's 32. And in the middle, makes 33. There's 33 degrees in Scottish Rite Freemasonry. And then you have the laurel crown around. Who used to wear a laurel crown? Caesar. Roman emperors. Roman Caesars. They wore laurel crown. Crown of laurels. What are your laurels? Your laurels are your achievements. Crown of laurels was worn by Caesar. And who else? Napoleon. Another one of their agents. So there's many more of these signs. But I just wanted to show you just a few of them so that you can open your eyes as you're walking around and you buying stuff and going about your daily life. You must recognize these guys are running shit. And it's theirs. See you next time on Lies Unpacked, audio visual. Cheers.